Hi, I'm Elliot, a writer and age group triathlete training for sprint distance triathlon in 5 weeks and an Olympic distance triathlon at the end of the summer. But more specifically, I'm here to improve my cycling skills. To achieve this, I'm embarking on a project I call FTP Builder, named after the workout I'll be taking on in Rouvy, the indoor cycling app. This series will be told in 5 parts. This is part 1, entitled Benchmark. In order to determine my current level, I decided that I'll run a few different baseline tests. First will be a test to determine my FTP. I'm sure you already know what an FTP test is, but here's a quick refresher. FTP, or functional threshold power, is a measure of the highest power output you can sustain for 1 hour, normalized to your weight. It's a key metric for cyclists because it helps gauge fitness levels, set training zones, and track progress. For me, understanding my FTP will be crucial because Rouvy will use this data to properly design my FTP Builder training plan. I'm a pretty light guy, and given my weight of 66 kg, it was recommended I use Rouvy's ramp test Lite, which is designed to provide a solid estimate of my FTP. This will serve as my primary benchmark. I'm not good with tests, but I did my best to take this one seriously. I got as much rest as I could and picked a weekend with low stress to attempt it. The competitor in me wanted to get a high mark, but I also knew that if I take it to my limit, I'll just have a higher bar to deal with going forward. Nevertheless, I set off with an attitude to do my best. As anticipated, the first half was smooth sailing. My heart rate remained steady and manageable as I increased the power output incrementally. Up until the 200 watt mark, I felt strong and in control. But at 220 watts, things started to get shaky. My heart rate climbed and the effort required began to take its toll. By the time I hit 230 watts, my legs were starting to feel the strain. Holding that wattage for the full minute became a real struggle. The default course for this ramp test was in Norway. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the region I'm riding through. I went up a winding road and saw some nice houses built on the side of cliffs, but really, I wasn't paying too much attention to my environment. While I like the realism of Rouvy, sometimes the roads in the real world just aren't that interesting to look at. For most stretches, Norway looks pretty similar to the mountain roads we have in British Columbia. Sometimes scenic, sometimes just a wall of trees. The test continued, and as I approached the 250 watt mark, I found myself struggling to maintain that power for more than a few seconds at a time. I made occasional bursts of effort, pushing myself to reach higher numbers, but it was clear that I'm at my limit. my heart rate soared past 180 beats per minute, and my primary goal shifted to holding enough power to simply finish the test. That bit of motivation helped me squeeze out every last bit of energy, allowing me to reach a maximum wattage of 306. Finally, the test was over, and according to Rouvy, my FTP was calculated to be 225 watts. To be honest, that number feels quite high to me. If FTP is a measure of what I can sustain for an hour, there is no way I can maintain 225 watts for that duration. However, I'll take this result as a starting point and see where I can go from here. So there you have it, my initial benchmark, 225. In the upcoming episode of Project FTP Builder, I'll be taking on my next benchmark test, which will be comparing the indoor ride on Rouvy with the exact course in the real world. I'll be doing a time trial of the Stanley Park loop to see how I perform indoor versus outdoor. This will hopefully help me determine whether my indoor training can be translated to the real world. Stay tuned and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes. Thank you for joining me on this ride. If you want to follow along on this journey, check out this playlist right here.